billionaire sees a waitress wearing his late wife's bracelet. What she says next changes everything. What if one glance across a bustling diner could unspool everything you believed about grief and love? Nathan Cole pressed his fingertips to the fogged window of Rosie's diner, watching rain ladder down the glass like the tears he'd trained himself not to shed. At 42, he'd built a sprawling empire worth billions, yet tonight he sat alone in a vinyl booth, chewing pie that might as well have been cardboard. It had been 3 years since Rebecca's light went out, 3 years since laughter wandered his echoing mansion, 3 years since anyone called him anything but Mr. Cole. Or Sir. The waitress drifted over with practiced warmth, auburn hair catching the amber glow above the counter. "Top you off, hun?" she asked. Nathan started to nod, and then he saw it. His breath snagged, the fork slipped from his fingers. On her wrist lay a delicate band of silver he knew by heart, Rebecca's bracelet. The very one with the tiny engraved hummingbird that had vanished the night she died. He stared, the diner tilting around him as if the floor itself had shifted. Same intricate chain links, same feather-fine bird etched into the charm. Rebecca had worn it every day for 15 years. Now it clung to a stranger's pulse, and with that single sighting, Nathan's carefully constructed world began to come undone. "Where are you watching from tonight?" He'd searched everywhere after the funeral, the hospital, the funeral home, even offered a reward. The bracelet had simply vanished like so many pieces of her. "Sir, you all right?" The waitress's voice brought him back to the present. Her name tag read Lily in faded letters, and concern creased her features. She couldn't have been more than 35, with kind eyes and weathered hands that spoke of long shifts and little rest. "That bracelet," Nathan managed, his voice rougher than intended. "Where did you get it?" Lily's hand moved protectively to her wrist, fingers closing around the silver chain. "This old thing was my grandmother's." Her tone shifted, becoming guarded. Why? Nathan's mind raced. 3 years ago, Rebecca had been admitted to St. Mary's Hospital during her final battle with cancer. This woman was too young to be a grandmother. Yet she wore his wife's most precious possession. "I'm sorry, it reminds me of someone." The diner hummed with quiet conversations and clinking silverware. Truckers hunched over coffee. A young couple shared a slice of apple pie, and an elderly man read his newspaper in the corner booth. This was Rebecca's kind of place. She loved these simple moments, these honest spaces where real people lived real lives. Lily softened slightly. "She must have meant a lot to you." She refilled his cup with steady hands, but Nathan caught the slight tremor in her voice. Sometimes the smallest things carry the biggest memories. Nathan nodded, unable to speak. Rebecca had said those exact words to him once, holding that very bracelet as she told him about her grandmother's stories. How could this stranger know? How could she be wearing Rebecca's bracelet and speaking with her wisdom? As Lily turned to leave, Nathan made a decision that would change everything. "Wait." She paused, looking back with those understanding eyes. "I'm Nathan Cole. Could we talk about the bracelet?" Something flickered across Lily's face. Recognition? Maybe fear. She glanced toward the kitchen, then back at him. "I get off at 11, she whispered, "if you're still here." Nathan waited in his car outside Rosie's diner as the evening shift ended. Through the steamed windows, he watched Lily untie her apron and gather her things. The rain had stopped, leaving the parking lot glistening under yellow streetlights. When she emerged, she looked small and vulnerable in her worn jacket. Nothing like the confident woman who'd served him coffee hours earlier. She approached his Mercedes cautiously, and he rolled down the window. "I wasn't sure you'd wait," she said, wrapping her arms around herself against the chill. "That bracelet belonged to my wife," Nathan said gently. She passed away 3 years ago. I've been looking for it ever since. Lily's face went pale. I can't just give it to you. You don't understand what this means to me. Her voice cracked, and Nathan saw tears forming in her eyes. My grandmother left me this before she died. It's all I have left of her. Nathan's heart ached. He recognized that desperation, that need to hold on to something tangible when everything else had slipped away. What was your grandmother's name? Elizabeth. Elizabeth Morrison. Lily's voice was barely a whisper. She worked at St. Mary's Hospital for 40 years, never married, never had children, except she raised me when my parents couldn't. She touched the bracelet tenderly. She said this would protect me, keep me strong. Nathan's blood ran cold. Elizabeth Morrison. He remembered her now, the night nurse who'd stayed with Rebecca during those final weeks, who'd held his wife's hand when he'd stepped out to make funeral arrangements. Rebecca had talked about her, called her an angel. Your grandmother, Nathan said slowly. She was Rebecca's nurse. Lily nodded, confusion mixing with fear in her expression. She never talked much about her patients, but there was one woman. She said she reminded her of herself at that age, brave and kind, even when she was scared. The pieces began falling into place, and Nathan felt his chest tighten with emotion. She gave this to your grandmother, didn't she? Grandma Elizabeth said the woman wanted someone to have it who would understand love and loss. Lily's voice broke completely now. She died 2 weeks after giving it to her. Grandma never got over it. If this moment touched your heart, please give the video a thumbs up. Nathan sat in stunned silence as the weight of Rebecca's final gift settled over them both. She'd known she was dying, known he'd be devastated. So, she'd made sure her most precious possession would go to someone who understood exactly what it meant to lose everything that mattered. She knew, Nathan whispered, his hands gripping the steering wheel. Rebecca knew I'd fall apart without her. She made sure someone else would carry a piece of her love forward. Lily climbed into the passenger seat, no longer afraid. In the soft glow of the dashboard, Nathan could see the bracelet catching the light, just as it had on Rebecca's wrist during their last dance in the hospital room. Your grandmother must have been special, he continued. Rebecca didn't trust easily, especially toward the end. Elizabeth was everything to me, Lily said, her voice thick with grief. When she got sick last year, I quit my job at the bank to take care of her. Used up all my savings, lost my apartment, but she'd raised me, you know. I couldn't let her die alone in some facility. Nathan turned to look at her fully. This young woman had sacrificed everything for love, just as he would have done for Rebecca. Just as Rebecca had done when she'd given away her most treasured possession to ensure it would be cherished. That's why you're working at the diner. 3 jobs, actually. The diner, cleaning offices at night, and weekend shifts at the grocery store. Lily's laugh was hollow. Elizabeth always said the bracelet would keep me strong. I think she meant it literally. I touch it whenever I feel like giving up. Nathan's throat constricted. Rebecca had done the same thing, running her fingers over the silver chain during chemotherapy during the sleepless nights when pain kept her awake. What would you say to her now if you could? That I'm trying to live up to her example, that I'm trying to be kind like her even when everything's falling apart. Lily's tears flowed freely now. But it's so hard. Some nights I sit in my car outside the motel where I live and I just cry. I miss her voice, her laugh, the way she'd hum while making tea. Nathan felt his own tears starting. Rebecca used to hum too in the garden while she watered her flowers. He paused, remembering. She always said the most important thing wasn't what we accumulated in life, but what we gave away. The silence stretched between them, heavy with shared understanding. 2 souls connected by loss, by love, by a silver bracelet that had traveled from one generous heart to another. Have you ever faced something like this? Let us know in the comments. I think, Nathan said slowly, Rebecca would want us to help each other heal. What do you mean? Lily asked, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. Nathan took a deep breath, feeling something shift inside his chest. Keep the bracelet, please. It found its way to exactly where Rebecca intended. He turned in his seat to face her fully. But let me help you get back on your feet. Not charity. Rebecca would hate that. A job, a real one, with benefits and a future. Lily shook her head. I can't. Accept handouts. Elizabeth taught me better than that. Not a handout, an opportunity. Nathan's voice grew stronger as the idea took shape. I run a foundation in Rebecca's name. We help people rebuild after medical crisis. The same situation that broke both of us. I need someone who understands loss. Someone with real compassion. Someone who knows what it means to sacrifice everything for love. The proposal hung between them like a bridge across their shared grief. Lily touched the bracelet, and Nathan could almost hear Rebecca's voice encouraging her to say, Yes, you don't even know me. You worked 3 jobs to care for your dying grandmother. I know you kept her dignity intact when the world tried to strip it away. I know you're exactly the kind of person Rebecca trusted with her most precious thing. Nathan's voice softened. Elizabeth saw it too, or she wouldn't have given you that bracelet. Lily was quiet for a long moment, staring out at the empty parking lot. She used to say that sometimes angels don't come with wings. Sometimes they come disguised as ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Maybe, Nathan said gently. We're both Elizabeth's angels tonight. A smile broke across Lily's face, the first real one Nathan had seen. She'd like that. She always believed everything happened for a reason. She looked down at the bracelet, then back at Nathan. I'll try on one condition. Name it. Tell me about Rebecca, all of it. The good days, the hard days. What made her laugh? If I'm going to carry her love forward, I want to know who she really was. Nathan felt his heart crack open in the most beautiful way. For 3 years, he'd carried Rebecca's memory alone, afraid that sharing it would somehow diminish her. But, looking at Lily's earnest face, he realized the opposite was true. If you've been enjoying this story, subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming tales. She would have loved you, he said simply, and I think she'd want you to know that love never really dies. It just finds new hands to hold. 6 months later, Nathan stood in the Foundation's new community center, watching Lily coordinate a support group for families facing medical crisis. She wore the silver bracelet every day just as Rebecca had, and Nathan often caught her touching it during difficult moments, drawing strength from the love it represented. The transformation in both their lives had been profound. Lily had moved into a small apartment near the Foundation, traded her 3 exhausting jobs for meaningful work, and slowly begun to heal from Elizabeth's loss. Nathan, meanwhile, had rediscovered his purpose, working alongside Lily, helping families stay together during their darkest hours. He felt Rebecca's presence more strongly than he had since her death. Mr. Cole, a young mother, approached, holding her son's hand. Lily said, You wanted to meet us. The Foundation is covering Tommy's medical bills. And I don't know how to thank you. Nathan smiled, the same, peaceful expression that had become common these past months. Thank my wife, he said gently. This was her dream, long before she got sick. She always said that love multiplies when we share it. As the evening wound down, Nathan and Lily walked together toward the parking garage. Elizabeth would be proud, Nathan said, watching her lock up the community center. You've helped more families in 6 months than most people do in a lifetime. We've helped them, Lily corrected. This whole thing works because you understand loss, too. You know what it feels like when everything falls apart. She paused by her car, touching the bracelet one more time. Rebecca's still here. You know, in every family we keep together. Every person who doesn't have to face crisis alone. Nathan nodded, feeling the truth of her words settle in his heart. She always said love was the only thing that grows when you give it away. Elizabeth used to say something similar. That kindness creates ripples we never see, touching lives we'll never know. Lily smiled up at the stars beginning to appear in the evening sky. I think they're both watching tonight, proud of what their love created. As Nathan drove home to a house that no longer felt quite so empty, he reflected on how grief sometimes reshapes itself into grace. A simple silver bracelet had led him to Lily, and through their shared pain, they had built something quietly beautiful. A reminder that love doesn't end, it simply changes form. Rebecca's spirit lived on, not as a memory sealed away in the past, but as a living light that reached through others, healing what time alone could not. The silver bracelet, its tiny hummingbird charm glinting softly in the sun, continued its journey, carrying with it the love of 3 generations of women who had all learned the same truth. The most precious things in life are never what we keep, but what we give. And sometimes in the stillness between one small kindness and the next, Nathan could almost hear Rebecca humming again. Not in sorrow, but in joy. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories that remind us how love, even after loss, always finds its way home. Until next time, may you discover your own silver threads of hope woven through life's tapestry.